Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. I can hear you. It's perfectly clear. I don't see your video yet, though. Did you purposely not turn that on?
Yeah, I haven't turned that on yet.
Okay, okay. But the audio
I'll
sounds
show you.
great. Oh, yep,
All right,
perfect. That works.
alrighty.
Awesome. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you in about 25 minutes.
Alrighty.
Thanks.
Hey, Tracy, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Good morning. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Harris Adams. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to hear proceeding number 24G-0194HHG. This matter comes on for a decision pursuant to decision number R250133I. If we can start with entries of appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jennifer Hayden and Aileen Chong, Assistant Attorneys General for the Department of Law, representing trial staff. With us today are PUC investigators Joseph Potts and Lloyd Swint.
Good morning. And looking at the participants appearing in the Zoom list here, I do not see the respondents. So I think the initial hearing in this matter was held in person, and this one's obviously remote. So just in case they're having some technical issues, we're going to start off with a recess. We'll come back in 10 minutes just in case they're having difficulty joining the session, see if we hear from them or they get into the meeting. And so we'll be in recess till 10 after the hour. Thank you. Okay, we'll go back on the record. I've confirmed that neither my legal assistant nor I have had any indication that the respondents are making any attempt to join us, so we will be proceeding without them. This matter again comes on for hearing pursuant to the decision that the commission reopened this proceeding for further proceedings in decision C25-0121-I. Sorry, I should confirm. Tracy, are you with me?
I am.
Thank you. Okay, and in that decision, the commission granted staff's motions things so that staff would be seeking an order from the commission to bring an action in state court for injunctive relief to prevent further violations by the respondents. And that's why we're here today. So Ms. Hayden, is there anything preliminary we need to address?
Preliminarily, just an outline, Your Honor, thank you for granting that motion. Staff intends to present evidence to show that number one, Mr. and Mrs. Rojas have violated the prior decision in a couple different ways. I would like the court to find that the cease and desist order was violated. And then we are seeking an order to district court based on additional evidence through a subsequent case.
Okay. Thank you. You may call your first witness.
Your Honor, staff calls Investigator Joseph Potts to the stand.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Potts. If you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Hayden.
Good morning, Investigator Potts. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Joseph Potts, JosephPotts.
And who is your current employer?
The Colorado Public Utilities Commission.
And what is your job title?
A criminal investigator.
And how long have you been with the PUC?
Just over 3 years.
And do you have prior law enforcement experience?
Yes, I was a sheriff's deputy for 15 years in the city and county in Denver prior to coming to the state.
And the case before the court today is against Mean Momma Boss Bitch with Michelle Rojas and Margarito Rojas doing business as that company. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you investigate those parties?
Yes, I did.
And did you issue a CPAN in that case?
Yes, I did.
And did that case go to hearing?
It did.
Was a decision issued in that case?
Yes, there was.
And do you recall what the result of the decision was against Mean Mama Boss Bitch and the Rojases?
Sure. First of all, no monetary fine was imposed. Rather, the respondents were asked to pay their previous fine from a 2018 case. Additionally, a cease and desist order was issued to the company, ordering them not to operate as a moving carrier without a permit.
Do you remember that when that decision was issued?
September 11th, 2024.
All right. And since that time, do you have any evidence that any attempts to pay the prior 2018 civil penalty imposed have been made?
No attempt has been made.
When was the last time you checked?
Last week.
And you had testified that a cease and desist order was issued from that decision.
Yes.
Did you investigate the parties since that decision was issued?
Yes, I have.
Can you tell us about that investigation?
Sure. I received a complaint from a Kevin Humphrey who told me that he was a former employee of the moving company and they had yet to be paid, him and along with several others. They knew that the company was operating without a permit, so they filed a complaint that they were continuing to operate without proper authorities.
Because in the Mean Mama decision, they were found to have violated the no proof of insurance and operating without a permit. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Based on your investigation, were you investigating Mean Mama again,
No. What I learned is that the company changed their name, as they routinely do, and started to operate as a company by the name of Huffy Puffy Moving with Ease.
Did you speak to, beyond the complainant, did you have an opportunity to interview other people who had interactions with the Rojas's?
Yes, I was put in touch with several former customers, and one in particular, the first gentleman I spoke to was a Robert Herzog. He told me that he hired the moving company to help him relocate here in the Denver area. And as which we learned was very common of the company, he told me that his personal property was packed up, and then the moving company demanded additional funds in order for his property to be delivered. I also spoke with a Haley Bailey, and this was a commercial move. Her company was relocating from Lakewood to Denver. She told me that they had found an ad on Craigslist for Mr. Rojas's moving company. And after the move was completed, they noticed they had about $6,500 in damages with their property after it had been dropped off. When they confronted Mr. Rojas about this, he provided them with a copy of his liability insurance. However, when they attempted to file a claim with the insurance company, they were informed that the policy was not active and that they would not be covered.
So what steps did you take from that point?
I began my investigation by pulling documentation from the Secretary of State's office, as well as researching the company's operating history and IFMs to see if, in fact, they did have a permit. And through the Secretary of State's office, I was able to locate the business license, which showed me that Mr. Rojas was associated with this company.
All right. And did you happen to come by a name for the current investigation that you were doing?
The name of the moving company, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, yes, the now newly
Okay.
operating company.
They were operating as Huffy Puffy Moving with Ease.
Okay. And so did you investigate a moving company that was owner and operated by Rafael Benjamin Rojas, doing business as Huffy Puffy?
Correct.
Okay. Did you ultimately issue a CPAN to Mr. Rojas, doing business as Huffy Puffy Moving with Ease?
Yes, I did.
And what violations were against Huffy Puffy?
Again, operating without a permit and failing to file evidence of insurance with the commission.
And did you double the fines in that case?
Yes, I did.
And why was that?
Pursuant of Rule 6019, commission staff may double the penalty if the respondent is found to be in violation of the same offense within the previous 24 months.
Did that case go to hearing?
Yes, it did.
Was a decision issued in that case?
Yes, it was.
Could we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 115? Excuse me, that's the prior decision. Let's see. If we could please take that down. Let me see.
Is it
If you want to exhibit
124?
Yes, please. If we could please pull up hearing exhibit 124. Thank you. Investigator Potts, what are we looking at here?
This is the decision letter.
The decision for which case?
The Huffy Puffy Moving with Ease case.
And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
I reviewed the decision when it came out and I saved it to the file.
Is this commission decision kept by the PUC in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like this?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff would move to admit staff's hearing exhibit 124.
Exhibit 124 is admitted.
Investigator Potts, who is the respondent in this case?
Rafael Benjamin Rojas. doing
Is that-
business as Huffy Puffy.
Thank you. Is that the same Mr. Rojas that was cited in the Mean Mama case?
Yes, it is.
Did you testify in this proceeding?
Yes, I did.
All right. Let's see. If we could scroll to the bottom of this order. Let's see. Up one more page, please. Did the court issue a civil penalty in this case?
Yes, they did.
Do you know whether any attempts have been made to make payment on this case?
No attempt has been made.
And was a cease and desist order applied in this case?
Yes, it was.
And if I could direct your attention to section 4 there, who is the cease and desist order pertaining to?
All Raphael, if we could scroll in or zoom in just a little bit. All Raphael Benjamin Rojas aliases and any owner, principal, officer, member, partner, or director of Raphael Benjamin Rojas and any other entity owned or operated by Raphael Benjamin Rojas or any principal, officer, member, partner, director of such entity.
All right, thank you. Let's take this down. Investigator Potts, I'd like to walk through why we have all of that information. If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 114. Investigator Potts, what are we looking at here?
This is a list of aliases that Mr. Rojas goes by, as well as names he's called the moving company or what they've operated as.
Okay. And can you explain why you cited Mean Mama, Mr. Rojas's name in Mean Mama as a different one than in Huffy Puffy?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase the question?
Sure. If we were to look back at the decisions for Mean Mama and Huffy Puffy, would you agree that the respondent's name changed?
Yes.
Why is that?
It depended upon what was filed with the Secretary of State's office.
So the filings with the Secretary of State doesn't reflect the same name for each business, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And based on your investigation, what other names did you find and associate with Mr. Rojas?
I've learned that he went by Margarito, Benjamin, Ben, Umberto, and Rafael.
Okay. And is he associated with other businesses that the PUC is aware of in their records and filings?
Yes, there is.
And what are some of those associated businesses?
Mean Mama Boss Bitch Moving, Fresh Start Moving, Mean Mama Boss, Big Mama Boss, Moonlight Movers, Denver Small Movers, Ridiculous Movers, Calvin's Moving, and 24-Hour Small Moves.
And
And his and hers Reliable Movers.
And does the PUC have records of these alias companies that were owned and operated by the Rojases?
Yes.
Is that because complaints were made against these companies?
Yes.
Were prior warning letters issued to these companies and parties?
Yes.
Okay. If we could, Your Honor, this exhibit's for illustrative purposes. We can go ahead and take this down. And these are just the ones you know of, Investigator Potts, is that right?
That's correct.
Might there be more?
There may be more.
So based on your investigation in Huffy Puffy, were you able to determine that Mr. Rojas in Mean Mama Boss Bitch is the same Mr. Rojas in Huffy Puffy?
That's correct.
And how did you make that determination?
Through the records I was able to obtain from the Secretary of State's office, as well as the complaint description, the phone numbers and addresses that I came across while investigating the complaint.
Okay. If we could please look at staff's hearing exhibit 116. The public version, please. My apologies, I seem to have the wrong exhibit up. I'm looking for, thank you. Your Honor, if I may have a moment.
Sure.
Your Honor, I think that can we try to please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 116?
Did you want the second page then?
No, I don't have 116 listed as the prior decision. I have it listed as a public version of the driver's license dossier.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
go to
It is.
page 2.
There we go. Thank you very much. Investigator Potts, what are we looking at here?
This is Mr. Rojas's driver's license dossier.
And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
I received it in the Mean Mama Boss Bitch complaint and saved it to the file.
Did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, I did.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 116.
I might have missed it, but Mr. Potts, how did this come into your possession?
My supervisor, Lloyd Swint, actually pulled this from his 2018 investigation when he realized that we were investigating this company once again. He was a prior investigator assigned to one of the earlier complaints involving Mr. Rojas. And once we learned that we were dealing with the same person, he sent it to me.
Well, Ms. Hayden, it sounds like Mr. Swint was a person that obtained this document from its original source. And I'm assuming you're intending to offer this for the truth of the matter, and it is. And you mentioned that Mr. Swint is with us today.
Yes, Your Honor.
It seems like he's the better witness to introduce, tell us what this document is, even though it was introduced in another case in some fashion, which is not in the record of this proceeding.
Yes, Your Honor. I can call Investigator Swint and move to admit this exhibit with Investigator Swint.
Okay, thank you.
In your investigation of Huffy Puffy, Investigator Potts, movers of household goods or transportation carriers are subject to regulation by the commission. Is that right?
That's correct.
And Huffy Puffy should have had insurance and a permit to operate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And were you able to find any of those on file with the PUC during your investigation?
They did not have one.
Okay. Based on your investigation, have any of the companies that Mr. Rojas has operated had proof of insurance or a permit to operate?
No.
All right. As part of your investigation, you mentioned running the business through the Secretary of State's website. Is that right?
Correct.
And why do you do this?
To learn more about the company and to see if they actually have a business license to operate in Colorado.
Okay. Can we pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 117? Investigator Potts, what are we looking at here?
This is the business license for Huffy Puffy Moving with Ease.
And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
I'm the one who located it on the Secretary of State's website and saved it to the case file.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
Yes.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 117.
117 is admitted.
Investigator Potts, what trade name is registered with the Secretary of State?
Huffy Puffy Moving with Ease.
And what is the registrant's name?
Rafael Benjamin Rojas.
And is that why you issued the CPAN and Huffy Puffy to Mr. Rojas in this name?
That's correct.
And based on that CPAN, is that why you used the addresses from this website?
That's correct.
And are you familiar with the Colfax address?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar?
This address was referenced in a previous PUC complaint.
And is the PUC aware of other addresses associated with Mr. Rojas?
Yes.
Okay. And this is the same Mr. Rojas that was cited with similar addresses in the Momma case, is that right?
That's correct.
All right. In your Huffy and Puffy investigation, did you come across a Facebook ad?
Yes, I did.
And tell me more about that.
I located an ad for Huffy Puffy Moving with Ease. According to this Facebook page, or this advertisement, there was an email address of which I sent an email requesting a quote to move from one address in Denver to another address in Lakewood.
All right. I'd like to take you back to your investigation onto the Facebook page. Could we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 118? Investigator Potts, what is this?
This is the Facebook ad.
And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
How are you familiar with this document?
I'm the one that located it and saved it to the case file.
And how did you obtain this document?
I performed a general internet search for the moving company.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, I did.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 118.
118 is admitted.
Investigator Potts, what is the name of the business advertising here?
Huffy Puffy Moving with Ease,
And what is Huffy Puffy advertising or offering to do?
moving services.
If we could scroll down a page, how would one get in touch with Huffy Puffy to move their stuff?
There's an email address right there near the top of this page. MeMommaBoss@gmail.com. Or excuse me, MommaBoss moving@gmail.com.
I'm sorry, let's make sure. So hearing exhibit 118 is admitted and in the record. We don't need the witness to read it to us, but we do need to know what the email address he's trying to describe. Mr. Potts, is it your intention to refer to the email address at the bottom of page 1 of hearing exhibit 118 that appears next to this image symbol of an envelope?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And if we could scroll down to page 3. Do you recognize these pictures, Investigator
Yes, I
Potts?
do.
And for the record, can you describe these pictures?
These are pictures that the company put on this Facebook page, and I recognize the individual in the top left photo as that of Mr. Rojas.
And how do you know that's Mr. Rojas?
I've dealt with him personally on a number of occasions in the past.
And at the bottom of page 3, if we could scroll down a bit further, who posted these images?
Rafael Rojas.
And is he associated with another company here?
Yes, Mean Mama Boss Moving.
If we could take this down, please. So did you reach out to Huffy Puffy through the Mean Mama email address?
Yes, I did.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 119.
The public version, right?
Yes, please. And if we could please scroll down to page 2. Investigator Potts, what is this?
This is the email and the response that I received from Mr. Rojas.
And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
How are you familiar with this document?
Once he responded to me, I saved it to the file.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
Yes.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 119, both the public and confidential version.
Thank you. Hearing exhibit 119 is admitted, and the confidential version of that document, including the redacted information in the public document, is marked in the record as a hearing exhibit 119C.
All right, Investigator Potts, what is this?
This is the moving quote request that I sent to Mr. Rojas, and it includes his response to me.
When did you send this?
November 5th or November 4th, 2024.
Which is it, Mr. Potts?
I emailed him on November 4th, 2024, and it looks like he responded later that day. So November 4th, 2024. He responded 4 hours later.
Investigator Potts, can you guide us where you see that date on this email?
Yes, it's directly above the subject on the left side.
All right.
The original message starts "Good morning" as I see this email string. Does the "good morning" comma, is that the beginning communication from you to Mr. Rojas?
That's correct. That's my initial message to him, November 4th, 2024, 10:01 a.m.
Thank you.
All right, to verify, Investigator Potts, did you draft and send this email?
Yes, I did.
And you sent that in the middle of the page there on Monday, November 4th, 2024 at 10:01 a.m.
Correct.
And what were you asking to do?
I asked for a quote to move from 2525 Weewatta Way in Denver to a apartment complex located at 1605 Sheridan Boulevard in Lakewood.
Did you get a response?
Yes, I did.
From whom?
Ben Rojas.
And how do we know that based on this email?
That's the name that we're seeing towards the top underneath where it says forwarded message.
And what email address did that come from?
meanmamaboss.moving@gmail.com.
Okay. In the top right-hand corner, that Tuesday, November 5th, was that an indication where you forwarded this email to yourself for filing purposes?
That's correct. That's when I actually forwarded it to my work email.
Okay. So on Monday, November 4th, you sent a request to move and received a response on the same day. Is that right?
That's correct.
How much time had elapsed since the Mean Mama decision came out before you took this step?
Well, the Me Mama decision was issued September 11th, and these email communications were occurring on November 4th. So roughly 2 months.
And based on your investigation, did you issue a CPAN in this case?
Yes, I did.
Could we please pull up what's been marked as Staff's Hearing Exhibit 120? Investigator Potts, what is this?
This is the CPAN that I drafted and issued to the respondent.
Did you prepare this document?
Yes, I did.
And if we could scroll down a bit, whose signature is on the first page there?
Mine?
And is this a true and accurate copy of that CPAN number 141772?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit Hearing Exhibit 120.
Exhibit 120 is admitted.
And what is the name used for the respondent in this case?
Rafael Benjamin Rojas, doing business as Huffy Puffy moving with ease.
What is the date of the violation in this case?
November 4th, 2024.
And what location was listed?
2525 Weewatta Way in Denver, Colorado.
Is this the same form used for all CPANs issued by the PUC?
Yes, it is.
And what were the two violations alleged in this case?
Again, operating without a permit and failing to file evidence of insurance with the Public Utility Commission.
And is Mr. Rojas aware of these requirements?
Yes, he is.
And in this case, did Huffy Puffy have a permit to operate as a household good mover?
No, they did not.
Did they have a permit to operate as a household goods mover?
No, they didn't.
And as you had previously testified to, a written decision was issued by the commission that found Mr. Rojas liable for violation of operating without a permit and insurance. Is that right?
That's correct.
And was the CPAN served on Mr. Rojas?
Yes, it was.
And what steps did you take to serve that CPAN?
I made arrangements with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, who served Mr. Rojas for me personally.
Can we please take a look at what's been marked as Staff's Hearing Exhibit 121, the public version, please? Investigator Potts, are you familiar with this document?
I believe so. Not sure what it is.
Oh yeah, let's go.
There we go. There we go.
Sorry about that.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and how are you familiar with this document?
This form was provided or given to me by the Jefferson County Sheriff, where they asked me to fill out information about Mr. Rojas and where they'd be able to locate him so that they could serve him for me.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, I did.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these in CPAN investigations?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 121, both the public and confidential version.
Okay, again, Exhibit 121 is admitted as a publicly available document, and the confidential version of that exhibit containing unredacted information is Exhibit 121C.
Investigator Potts, did you fill this form out?
Yes, I did.
And is this required to have the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office serve the CPAN?
Yes, it is.
And where did you obtain the information to identify Margarito Rojas in this form?
I knew where he lived. This would be the second time I've served him.
Where did you obtain the address for the business?
715 Kipling Street. I knew that to be his personal residence.
Okay. That's the same residence for Mr. Rojas, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
If we could scroll down a bit farther, is your information contained in this form?
Yes, it is.
What information did you have to provide?
My work address, phone number, and email.
And does this form indicate how you would like to receive proof of service returned to you?
Yes, it does.
And what did you elect?
Email.
And did you receive proof of service from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I did.
If we could please take this exhibit down. If we could please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 122. Investigator Potts, are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
This is the return of service that I received after their sheriff's deputy served Mr. Rojas.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
Yes.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these in CPAN investigations?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 122.
Exhibit 122 is admitted.
Investigator Potts, why did you use the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department to serve this CPAN?
This would be the second time that I've had to deal with Mr. Rojas. I did not anticipate him being very welcoming with me at his front door once again and delivering bad news.
When was this served?
We could scroll to the top. I can give you the exact date. I believe, or no, I'm sorry, it's at the bottom. January 2nd, 2025.
And what address was used to serve this CPAN?
715 Kipling Street, number 117 in Lakewood.
Okay. Thank you. If we could please take this down. So once you've served the CPAN, did that Huffy Puppy case go to trial?
Yes, it did.
And did you testify in the Huffy Puffy case?
Yes, I did.
Was the respondent present for that hearing?
No, he did not show up.
Was a decision issued in that case?
Yes.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 124.
There are two in your box. You wanted the decision and not the one that's titled decision placeholder. Is that right?
Yes, please. That's correct.
Okay.
My apologies. That was supposed to replace the placeholder. Investigator Potts, what are we looking at here?
This is the decision letter.
In which case?
The Huffy Puffy moving with ease.
And when was this issued? If we could scroll it down just a little bit.
April 9th, 2025.
And do you recall what the findings were in that case?
Yes, I do.
Excuse me, do you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, I do.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these in CPAN investigations?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 124.
Okay, hearing exhibit 124 being a copy of the commission's decision number R25-0265 issued in proceeding number 25G-0031HHG is admitted as a hearing exhibit 124. I'll note for the record also, actually, no, I won't. Mr. Potts, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
This is a recommended decision issued in the proceeding as I just described, and hearing exhibit 124 is now admitted. Did you review this proceeding number to see whether or not the Rojas has filed any exceptions to this recommended decision?
I believe I did check on that last week, and I didn't see anything once the decision letter was issued. E-filings did not present any additional information.
Thank you. So, okay, Ms. Hayden.
Investigator Potts, to summarize. You investigated Huffy Puffy by Mr. Rojas after the decision was issued in the underlying Mean Mama case, is that right?
Correct.
And in the underlying Mean Mama case, there's no indication that a prior civil penalty was paid from the 2018 case, is that right?
That's correct.
And based on your investigation of bringing Huffy Puffy, do you believe that the cease and desist order was violated?
Yes, I do.
And is that because you emailed and asked Huffy Puffy to move you? Is that right?
That's correct.
And Investigator Potts, do you have any recommendations for the commission this morning?
I would like to see this brought to the district court's attention. I mean, I can only issue so many CPANs to this individual. We're not having an effect here. So
Thank you. Let's see. No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Potts, I just want to make a couple clarifications for the record. You've referred to the underlying case. When you refer to the underlying case or the Mean Mama case, are you referring to this proceeding that we're holding the hearing in today?
I don't think I quite understand your question.
You've referred to an underlying Mean Mama case.
Okay.
Is that proceeding number 24G-0149HHG?
That sounds correct. I don't have the proceeding number memorized off the top of my head, but it was a 2024 case.
Why don't we take a look at exhibit 124? Mr. Potts, take a moment and review this decision number R25-0265. Take a look at this document and feel free to ask Ms. Kunkel to scroll through the document if you need. See if you can tell me, is this proceeding in that decision the proceeding you've referred to as the underlying Mean Mama case?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier in your testimony, there was reference to, you know what? Excuse me. Let's take a look, if you would. I'm sorry, bring that back just a second, Stephanie. Okay, so now I'm sorry, if you would pull up what's been marked as exhibit 115. Okay, again, I'd ask you to take a look. This was marked for hearing exhibit 115 was not offered for admission, but hearing exhibit 115 is a copy of the commission's decision number R24-0646 issued in this proceeding, proceeding number 24G-0194HHG. If exhibit 116 is the underlying Mean Momma case, what is this case?
This is the previous case. So I understand what you're saying now. Mean Momma was the first case in which you overheard and issued a cease and desist order to the respondent to stop moving. Then we have the 2025, or excuse me, the November 2024 case involving Huffy Puffy, which is being operated by the same respondent.
Okay, and then earlier in the proceeding, I heard reference to Mean Momma Boss Bitch moving, and I'm seeing the proceeding in this case, and I realize how this might happen, but as I read the caption in that case, it was Mean Momma Boss B, the numeral 1 TCH moving. So any references you've made to Mean Momma Boss Bitch moving are to the respondent in this proceeding. Do I understand that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then just final clarification, there was some reference earlier on in your testimony as to these two proceeding numbers that we've looked at, proceeding number 24G-0149HHG and 25G-0031HHG. And then a reference was made to those proceedings and a court. So I just want to, when you were referring to those proceeding numbers, you're referring to the commission, not a court, I assume.
That's correct.
And that's, I would note that's except as to the relief to the extent you're pursuing action in district court. Okay. Okay, Ms. Hayden, any clarifying or redirect questions based on my questions?
Yes, Your Honor, and based on your questions, if we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 115. Investigator Potts, this is the recommended decision from Mean Momma Boss case. Can you see that?
Yes.
And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
When the decision came out, I read it and saved it to the file.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, I did.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these in CPAN investigations?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 115, the decision letter in R24-0646.
Well, that is the recommended decision in this proceeding. I'm not sure it needs to be admitted, but it will be. Exhibit 115 is admitted as a copy of decision R24-0646 issued in this proceeding.
Your Honor, staff has no further questions for this witness.
Okay, Mr. Potts, thank you for your testimony. You may call your next witness.
Your Honor, staff calls Lloyd Swint to the stand.
Thank you. Mr. Swint, if you would please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Investigator Swint. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
My first name is Lloyd, L-L-O-Y-D. Last name of Swint, S-W-I-N-T.
And who is your current employer?
I'm employed by the Colorado State Public Utilities Commission.
And what is your job title?
Title is Manager and Criminal Investigator.
And how long have you been with the PUC?
Since 2018.
And prior to that, do you have law enforcement experience?
I do.
What is it?
I began my career as a deputy sheriff in the city of Toledo, Ohio, and then I retired from the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office. After a short break, I went to work for the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment, and then I transferred over to the Public Utilities Commission.
And as part of your investigations with the PUC, did you investigate a Mr. Rojas?
I did.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 114. Investigator Swint, based on your investigations, are you familiar with any of the aliases for Mr. Rojas?
Yes, the first two stand out as ones that I knew of at the time when I investigated him in 2018.
And what were the associated businesses in 2018 that you investigated?
At that time, the case that it was working on was 24-hour small moves.
Was a warning letter issued in that case?
I issued a CPAN in that case.
Oh, that's right. And did that case go to hearing?
It did.
And was a decision issued in that case?
It was under 24G-0194HHG.
What was the result of that decision?
That the findings of the CPAN were upheld by the court, and the defendant was ordered to pay the full fine and costs assessed per rule.
If we could please take this exhibit down. Investigator Swint, as part of that investigation that you conducted, did you run a DMV check on Mr. Rojas?
I did.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 116, the public version. And scroll down a bit to the next page, please. Investigator Swint, what are we looking at here?
We are looking at the redacted copy of a dossier that I had requested from the Colorado Department of Motor Vehicles driver's license section.
Are you familiar with this document?
I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
I requested it through normal channels.
How did you obtain this document?
By writing to the Department of Motor Vehicles and requesting a copy of his photograph.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business activities?
As a confidential document, yes, I did.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these as part of your investigations?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 116, both the public and confidential version.
Hearing exhibit 116 is admitted, a public version of the document, then the confidential version without redaction is noted in the record as exhibit 116C.
Investigator Swint, what is the full legal name for Mr. Rojas?
As noted on this dossier, it's Rojas. It is the last name, but it's Margarito Joe Ralph Rojas.
And what is the address associated with Mr. Rojas on file with the DMV at this time?
2121 West Custer Place in Denver.
Excuse me. Is this the same address on file with the PUC at that time?
It was.
Is this the same address on file with the Secretary of State for various business entities associated with Mr. Rojas?
I don't recall without researching that.
Okay. Do you know that, excuse me, do you know if Mr. Rojas has any other aliases that you're aware of?
Referring back to the previous exhibit, I'm aware that he utilizes several aliases. Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. And as part of that 2018 decision, was a cease and desist order issued in that case?
I believe so.
Are you aware of any efforts to make payments towards the civil penalty imposed in that 2018 case?
As of last week, I know that there has been no attempts made to make any payment on that CPAN judgment that was ordered.
And Investigator Swint, are you familiar with the Mean Mama Boss proceeding?
I am.
And are you familiar with the decision that's in evidence in this case?
I am aware. Can you ask that again, please?
Yeah, sorry. And are you aware of the Mean Mama Boss decision that was issued in this present case? We're in mean
I
Momma.
am. Yes,
Okay.
I am.
And are you aware of any efforts based on the order there to make payment in the 2018 case?
I'm not aware of any payments being made in the 2018 case.
Investigator Swint, do you have any recommendations for the commission today?
As Investigator Potts testified earlier, we've tried taking so many actions against this respondent only to have him disregard all the orders of the commission and of the courts. I'm requesting that this case we be allowed to proceed to go to district court to take further court action against Margarito Rojas.
Thank you, Mr. Swinton. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Swint. Just a little clarification from me. You referenced in the proceeding number 18G-0792HHG, the penalty being upheld by the court. Again, was there court action in that case, or are you referring to the commission in that instance?
I'm referring to the commission, Your Honor. My apologies.
And then hearing exhibit 116, is that the document that you then provided to Mr. Potts for his investigation?
Is that the confidential and the public version we're talking about?
I'm talking about the confidential version is, I guess, the main one. I mean, it is the same exhibit. We just make a public version available of it.
Sure. That is the document that I provided to Investigator Potts.
Thank you. Okay. Any follow-up or redirect based on my questions, Ms. Hayden?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Flint. And Ms. Hayden, you call your next witness.
Your Honor, staff rests.
Okay. Thank you. And with the respondent not appearing and looking at the participant list in our Zoom session, they haven't joined without announcement or anything like that. That will bring the hearing to a close. I thank staff for the presentation of the case, and we'll take the matter under advisement and issue a recommended decision. Anything further we need to address today, Ms. Hayden?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. We'll be in recess. Have a great day.